Welcome back to Retrotainment Recast. Yes, it's not on the slab. It's not KingWoe's court. So I'm back again to help these boys out. Well, my namesake is getting used to becoming a daddy. Hope he's doing well. But yeah, you're very welcome back to Retrotainment Recast. And of course, I'm last week's loser, of course. So are we going to get a new champion tonight? Greg,
fucking A, we will.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think Ted's the JBL of our champions, isn't he?
I mean, he just about scraped to keep his title the last time I met him up. So it's time to come and get that 7th reign.
No. I'd already won, and then there was 2 choices left.
It finished 5-5. That's a draw. You kept it by default.
But I'd already won those last 2 things. I already knew. I was like, oh well, Greg can only get 2 to draw me. I'm done. Like
it was by default.
It doesn't matter.
He loves that champion's advantage, doesn't he?
No, listen. I'd already got the win. All right. You know, you're 7-0 up in a football game, and there's 2 minutes left. It doesn't matter if the other lad scores 2 goals. You're still fucking cruising, lads. You already won. You only
but the difference is if you were 5-3 up and concede in the last 2 minutes, it's a draw, and that's what happened.
Not when there's a champion's advantage there, son. That's always been the case.
I'd say you put that champion's advantage rule in there, Ted.
I did not.
It was agreed between the 3 of us, but I think it was Carl's idea.
Carl put it forward because he said, "What happens if we do have a draw?" So
we didn't actually think it would be possible, and then literally a week later, it happened.
Okay, well, look, we have a very good episode tonight. This is going to be very interesting. A brilliant film, Braveheart.
Amazing film.
Yeah,
it's great to go back and rewatch this now. It was.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very intrigued to see who you go with for William Wallace.
Lads, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Mel Gibson would never have been cast in this if he didn't direct this movie.
No.
Well, I mean, when you think it was a happy mistake, wasn't it? Or a happy accident?
Yeah. Isn't it funny though? Do you know when you first see him? Do you know when he goes up to Miriam's house and he's like, "Oh, the rain's coming straight down, slightly at an angle." You can actually see where they've put the extensions into his hair and everything because it changes color.
It's more that like he's in this film and he can't do a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad, isn't it?
Every 7th or 8th word, you might get a bit of a Scottish twang on it. But outside of that, it's just Mel Gibson just shiting on. Like there's no accent involved at all. Like
it was a brilliant movie though.
No,
and a lot of it. I think a lot of it was shot down in Wexford, down the road from us.
It was.
Yeah, it was. One of the few things about this film that I'd kind of forgotten about though was how long it actually is. I don't remember
3 hours.
I don't remember it being a 3-hour film because it's so enjoyable. Like when you're sitting there watching, it doesn't feel like 3 hours. And I know like 3-hour films are very common now with Marvel films and stuff. A lot of films being 3 hours. But when this was released back in the mid-90s, like a 2-hour film was considered a long film. Like, this film's 2 hours. Like that was considered long, and this was 3.
Yeah,
and
it could easily go on longer.
I don't remember anyone complaining, being like, "Oh, it was too long. It was too long." I don't remember ever hearing anyone say that about it.
No, I think this could have easily gone another half an hour, and gone into a bit more of the battles that he had.
Yeah, but I don't think.
I think that was probably the weakest part of this film, to be honest. Is the battle.
The battle, yeah,
it's quite weak. They're very
yeah, you can see it's very like now when you see like sword fights in films, they're quick moving because they're rehearsed so often. Things like that you couldn't really do because there's about 400 people.
And it's more that like you're watching it, and even like the front, like when William Wallace when he's swinging the sword, you can see it slowed down because they obviously didn't have enough prop work there to make it look better.
Yeah.
The lads in the background, they may as well be standing there holding hands like they are nodding. And like it's one of the few things, like that's one of the few criticisms I have of it. But it's from '95, so like we're so used to really good battle scenes now. But that's because everyone realized from films like this, you need to still be doing it in the background. It doesn't matter if you're not the focus. You need to still look like you're fucking going for it, lads.
Yeah.
Just for the record, we are not shitting on Braveheart here.
No, we all love it.
Well, this is where like this is how films get better. Is you learn, like you look at a film like Braveheart and you go, right, let's nitpick it, find something that was wrong with it, and then for the future films we'll be able to fix that, and that won't be an issue. And like that's what's happened. Like films like this, people nitpicked and were like, yeah, you can see the boys in the background not doing enough, and now we don't get that anymore. Like that's what has to, like that's how we progress.
Yeah, I know, like you have to learn by what's done before you. So
yeah.
And I thought Mel Gibson, I think it was his first movie that he directed, and it was phenomenal.
What did he go with after that? Was it what you call it? The one in the jungle. Was that the next one he directed?
No, Passion of the Christ was next, I think.
Yeah.
And then he done Apocalypto, which was amazing.
Yeah.
He got Ronaldinho to play the main actor.
Jesus. Good man, Greg. So look, we'll get cracking because we've a few to get through. I think we were 9.
9 on this one.
To do, yeah. So
send our picks into there
We'll
first.
send the old photographies in.
When you're ready, yeah, all in.
Sent there, yeah.
Okay, boys, you ready to go?
Let's go.
Right, well, let's start with. Now I have my little list here. Let's start with Campbell.
Campbell.
Ah, yes.
He's
the oldest member of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a strange one because he's meant to be. Campbell is Hamish's dad.
Yeah.
But there's 8 years between the two actors.
It's mad, isn't it?
Now, don't get me wrong. The actor that played Campbell looks a hell of a lot older than 8 years older than.
I mean, you can do a lot of damage with 8 years of whiskey.
You can. But yeah, obviously this is kind of a bit of a tough one because like you still need to keep him to be kind of an older character, but he still needs to have that fighting spirit in him. Do you know what I mean? Because Campbell doesn't back down from a scrap.
Even when he loses his hand.
No, and
that is vicious as well.
He's also a funny old bastard as well. When they're sitting around the campfire and someone says something about how big he is, and he says to Hamish, "You've been talking to your mother again." Like, what a funny bastard! what a funny good. But I had two people for this. My backup was Rory McCann. I think he's too physically imposing for this role.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's a beast.
Yeah, I went with another actor. I also don't think Rory McCann looks as old, even though I think he's
in his 50s, isn't he?
He is in his 50s, so he's older than the original actor, but he doesn't look as old, I don't think. So I went with someone who looks a little bit older in Ian Glenn, who would have been...
Oh, I love Ian Glenn.
Yeah, probably most notable for Game of Thrones at the moment. That's probably where he's the most notable.
It's a good shout now. That is a good show.
Yeah, a Scottish man as well. So...
Well, I don't think they didn't use many of them.
No, they didn't, but I have. I said I'll get a little bit of an actual Scottish accent in here. Maybe the rest of the boys will learn.
I generally only had one name for this, and he was in the movie. I went to Brendan Gleeson.
And see the fact you've used someone that's with. I know he hasn't been in this reality.
Well, even in general, I would have picked Brendan Gleeson for here.
Would you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not that he was in. Well, yeah. Now I do say Ian Glenn's a good show. Never even thought of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I'm not saying it was, but Brendan Gleeson seems like a lazy choice. If you get me, I'm not saying it was.
Yeah.
I think Ian Glenn is a really good pick, so I'm gonna go with Ian Glenn on that one, lads.
Yeah. I would have given that one anyway.
Yeah, I like Ian Glenn.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
It's hard not to put Brendan Gleeson into here.
Yeah, it is.
Like he is a good shout, but then the reason he's a good shout is because he's already done it. And I know technically this film's never been made in the what we're doing, but at the same point,
Sorry about that, buddy.
No, it's Ian Glenn's a better show.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with Queen Isabella.
Ooh. It's an important role.
Oh yeah.
In this, like I forgot how important she is in this, and I completely forgot that the two of them get it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be anyone that's sort of in their 20s, really, I went with Anya Taylor-Joy for this one.
Right. Okay.
Good actress.
Yeah, good actress.
Yeah.
Very big name as well, though.
Yeah. But then again, you're going to replace names in this.
Yeah, you are. This one, like, I tried to think about the way this character is because they portray her as, you know, she's French royalty, but
she's not near French at all.
there's no like nothing French about her. And like she's not like they don't portray her talking in French all that much. Like, you know, nothing. It's just that's what they said. Like, oh yeah, she's from France.
It's more the maid that speaks French to her, and she's just like, okay.
Yeah, you hear like 2 lines of French in the whole film. But the character is what I kind of thought of for this, and the character is a bit naive at the beginning. You know, she kind of believes things are all fair and good, and then she kind of learns the harsh reality, and she fights back. You know, she gives the gold to the commoners. She's constantly at the king. You know, she's always kind of just jabbing at him little by little. Because she's like, well, you're dying anyway, and I'm gonna take over because your son's a piece of shit. Like he's not gonna rule this kingdom. I am. He's
such a dick, isn't he?
Yeah. So I kind of thought of people that could do that sort of thing. So I had 2. My backup was Kristen Stewart, who I think kind of does that,
like that,
but I think she's a little bit maybe too big of a name for the role. So I went with Daisy Edgar Jones, who was the lead girl in Fresh. Yeah, she's not a huge named actress at the moment, but I think she fits that role quite well. You know, she's naive at the start, and then when she realizes the shit she's in, she starts to fight back very well.
Yeah, that's a good show. I think Anna Taylor has that more of a. This is gonna sound weird, Greg. She has more of a like a maid look rather than a queen. You know what I mean? I think so. Anyway, and. I couldn't see her being. I know she kind of is innocent in the witch at the start, and then she's at the end of it, whatever. Like, you know, but I'm probably gonna go with Ted in that one.
Yes, a good lead now, but
yeah,
it's all right. There's 9 in it.
That's what I was gonna say. As it's a 9-person one, the lead of 2 is not a.
And you know what happens if we draw the next one? You've seen it before.
I've seen it before, but. I'm confident in a couple of my other picks as well. Not so confident in some of them, though.
So let's go with Hamish next. Mix it up.
Hamish. Okay, so this is one that I'm not super confident with.
I am.
The actor I picked is I think he would do the role very, very well. My lack of confidence comes from if I'm not sure if you'll know the actor. So the actor is Drew Powell.
Good actor.
I've brought him up before. Hamish as a character, yeah, he's obviously, you know, William Wallace's best friend as they're growing up, but his character is meant to be a kind of big, physically imposing guy. Like you get that from the rock throwing, and he's meant to be this big, burly guy. So I was like, I need to find someone that can do that. I think Drew Powell.
He's Batista in Dexter.
Yeah. I know him mainly from Gotham, where he's just a big burly guy. Butch in Gotham, yeah. See, the other 2 boys haven't watched Gotham, so I don't.
I have. I've seen the first series.
Yeah, well, you need to watch the rest of the series because it gets good.
I'm getting into the boys here. Leave me alone.
Well, you need to watch that as well. But yeah, Drew Powell. I think he'd do the role quite well.
And a good show.
I went back to Game of Thrones. I went with Christopher Hivstew, who was, you know, the wildling with the big red beard.
Oh yeah.
Whose name I can't remember.
They're both good shouts, lads. Big presences. You know what I mean? I think going on what I know what we didn't see Brendan Gleeson in this recast, and we would say. But I do think, like I could see your man who you can't pronounce his name.
I know, Christopher Hivstew. I can't pronounce his name. I can't remember his name from Game of Thrones.
It's Tormund Giantsbane in Game of Thrones.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good show.
I had him and Gleeson. I kind of put 1 and 1 because he's old enough to be his dad.
Yeah, I think he could do it. I think I'd go with him.
Yeah, no, that's a good show. I didn't even think of him.
And they were both good shouts, actually, lads.
The other thing I would have said, I think Drew Powell's more of a Hispanic look in, well, he lives in Dexter anyway.
Who's he in Dexter?
He's Batista.
No, he's not.
Am I mixing him up with someone?
You're mixing him up.
I think you might be. He's in 1408 as well, but like it's he's the assistant manager in the hotel. Like it's not.
They look very alike.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I am mixing them up. Yeah.
He's Falcone, I think. Not Falcone. He's one of
Maroney.
the other. Yeah,
he's
Maroney. Yeah.
He's Maroney in a thing. Yeah. No, Drew Powell hasn't been in like a huge.
I think he was he the bad guy in The Marine with John Cena as well?
He was, yeah. He was in The Marine, yeah. I don't bring up The Marine because I assume most people haven't watched it. So
yeah, I don't blame people not watching it.
So we're 2-1.
2-1,
Very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, Thormund was a good shout. I'm glad he's been, and I think that's the first time he's been used as well.
I think Carl might have tried to get him in before.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. I'm going to claim a first one with him though.
I think you can.
So let's see. What about Morrison?
This one was a good one. Like, this is Tommy Flanagan.
Yeah.
It's such a random one. Like, you forget he was in this. Like, you watch Sons of Anarchy now and you look back and there's a lot of actors in that are in some decent movies.
Yeah.
Like, Chibs is in Waterworld.
Yeah.
Or not Chibs, Trig is in Waterworld.
Trig.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He plays that same perverted role in that too. But this one, I went... Actually, I have another Game of Thrones character in here. I went with Kit Harington here. Who obviously can do the sword fighting better than Tommy Flanagan did because he was terrible in trying to swing that blade in this.
Does Tommy Flanagan do a whole lot of sword fighting in this?
Yeah, you see him in the fight scenes when he battles the English after they mooned him.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's the one that he's the one that saves Hamish's dad from being killed after he loses his hand and stuff.
Yeah. I kind of struggled with this one because this is the one I kind of... The character's just kind of a little bit...
It's there, yeah.
Like, he's there. He's kind of included more so because it's his
wife.
It's his wife that the Lord makes that claim to, or whatever. And like that's he's kind of only memorable, like standing out from the rest of the background characters because of the kind of scar and stuff on his face. So that's kind of what I went with when I was thinking of this, and I was like, I really don't know.
He does become one of Wallace's top guys, though. That's the only thing about him.
No, he becomes one of Wallace's top guys, but he's not the same as Hamish. He's not the same as he's not even the same.
Stephen the Irish.
Yeah, he's not the same as Stephen the Irish. He's not the same as Robert the Bruce. Like, he doesn't really stand out that much. Like, he's kind of in the background. Like, yes, he's one of the generals, but he's kind of just the general that you're like, oh yeah, that guy's a general in our army. So that's kind of what I went with here. The most distinguishing thing for him in this film is kind of that he's got the scar on his face. That's how I know who he is when I was watching it. So I was like, I want to pick someone, and I know aesthetically you can put a scar on anyone realistically, but I went with someone who kind of has that, and also has the that bit of the aggressive, angry streak in him because he feels he's been wronged. He's the youngest cast by far for me, but it's Jacob Bertrand, who's Hawk in Cobra Kai.
Knowing the way he is, he looks very young.
He does, but this is meant.
Hawk might be too young.
Yeah.
To be to extent to be married, right, and then to become a general or whatever he is in the Scottish Freedom Army against the English.
Well, you have to remember this is. I
understand that.
Like someone who's like in their mid to like early to mid 20s, is normally kind of married by that point anyway.
Yeah, no.
To me, it's kind of got like, that could still be a thing. And then to be a general in William Wallace's army, all you had to do was kind of be there the whole time, And,
to hate the English.
Yeah, like that's not to like knock anyone down on it, but like,
no.
That's the way it was. It was just like these are the people that stuck by him the entire time.
I'm not entirely sure that's the right pick though. No, obviously I'm not gonna turn around. Well, I did in the first pick because it was a better pick than mine. I'm not gonna turn around and say that it's not the right pick for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with Kit Harington there, even though I don't think he's the perfect choice for that character.
He's just a better choice.
Out of those two, he's the best choice.
Yeah. See, I was trying to think, guys, like who's not really a big name that can slide in here because this wasn't a big name at the time, you know.
He still isn't though.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not a big name at the time, but like, yeah, like we can only go by kind of what they were at the time, and he's not. And like, Kit Harington might not be a superstar at the moment, but he's got a big name.
I think his stock is plummeted drastically. He came off and done that one on the island with Remy Malek, the prison one, and he done Pompeii and things after Game of Thrones, and they were all terrible.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know.
Probably hit his peak with Game of Thrones.
Sometimes you just hit one character and that's it, really, isn't it? You got to live off that for the rest of your days, like.
Yeah. So that's that brings it level 2-all.
2-all, yeah. Well, those were the two I wasn't very confident on anyway.
Oh, so. Great. I said to Carl earlier, I said I've got sort of 4 that I'm really happy with, and I've used one of them so far.
Foreman, I assume, is the one you were really happy with, is it?
Yeah, I had a full feeling that was going to be a.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. That was a good one. I would have picked it anyway if I thought of it. Like.
Yeah.
Next, we'll go with Stephen the Irish.
Yeah, there's only one man for the job here. Killian Murphy.
Well, I was meant to go first, but it doesn't really matter because I had
Killian. Oh, were you?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't matter because I had Killian Murphy as well.
Lovely.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Sorry about that, Ted.
No, you're fine. It didn't matter because when you said that you only have one man for it, I was like, well, I only had one man for it. And I thought, let's see if we both thought there was only one man and we're both different. But nah, yeah, Killian Murphy is Killian Murphy's the easy choice there, isn't he?
Yeah, but like it's a good choice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's a good choice, but it's the easy one. You're like, right, Stephen the Irish, Killian Murphy, a bit fucking cuckoo. You know, which we've seen him play in like Batman and like plenty of other films. He's got that bit of a screw loose when he needs to. Perfect choice for it.
Absolutely.
Good one. Right, we're moving swiftly along. Let's go with. We've got what? 3 left, is it?
4.
4. Go with Robert the Bruce.
I had a couple of names here. It is me this time, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
I had a couple of names here. Robert the Bruce is a little scaly rat.
He is and he isn't though, because he's a scaly rat, and then it turns out his dad's the scaly rat, and he turns his back on his dad.
No, well, not even that. He goes to fight with the English.
Yeah, and then he really regrets having done that, and he tries to welcome him in again, and then his dad's a scaly rat.
He's a scaly rat. The backup I had here was Richard Madden, and I went with a hatred actor of mine. I went with James McAvoy here.
No.
He doesn't do anything in this movie. Like, he does not fight. You don't see him fighting. Oh, sorry, he fights William Wallace.
Yeah,
he's a scaly rat. And he does more. It's all about his talking and his delivery, which McAvoy can do really well.
He can. I don't know if I see McAvoy in that role though myself. I had looked at him again because he's a Scottish actor as well. But I don't know. I didn't like McAvoy for any of the roles in this, and he's someone I really like as an actor. So I actually do try to fit him in. You
do use him quite a bit. I use him a few times as well, despite not liking him. But I think he fits into this role perfectly.
No, I'm a big fan of his. I had looked at him sort of, and I was like, maybe he's a bit old to be Robert the Bruce as well. But like, again, you can age him up. He doesn't look that old either. I had 2 people for this. My backup was Matt Smith, who I think is a
Doctor Who.
Yeah, but like Last Night in Soho, he's an oily little bastard, and that.
I still haven't seen that. I have to watch that.
Oh, you should. It's very good. But like loads of stuff he's in, he's always an oily little bastard. Like, I haven't watched Doctor Who, so I assume he's not oily in that. But in general, most stuff I've seen him in, he's been quite oily. But he's a little bit old for the role. So I went with someone who is an English or like British actor anyway. I'm quite certain English, but
he is English. Yeah.
I went with a different one, a little bit younger, who has stepped into that role and can play the, oh no, I'm a good guy, and then turn it, and then a couple of minutes later kind of turn it back in Daniel Radcliffe.
You didn't like my pick. I definitely don't like yours.
I like Daniel Radcliffe. He's able to flip being, a helpless, oh no, like I am going to help you, and then be like, nah, fuck that, lads. I'm going to fucking screw these lads over.
Well, I'll tell you who I'm going to pick, and I'll tell you why I picked out of those two that you just said. I'm going to go with Daniel Radcliffe, and for one reason, for one role that he did, and that was himself in Extras. Did you ever see Extras?
No.
Right. So he does that, like he's meant to be like this little, like the spoiled little brat, and like that. Yeah, and then I think out of those two, it would be Radcliffe.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
I think McAvoy's too intense.
For the role that the Bruce has, it's definitely more intense.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It's just he's a great. I think he's too good for that role.
McAvoy's a different type of actor for me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
So we'll see.
That puts me 1 up.
Yeah.
4-3.
4-3, yeah.
You need 2.
Yeah.
So next we go with the son.
The other scaly rat.
Oh, the Prince Edward.
The Prince.
Yeah.
Prince Edward. Yeah, again, such a minor character. Really just doesn't get up to a whole lot in this, other than like watching his best mate get thrown out the window.
That's not his best mate, let's be fair.
Listen, they never said anything, yous are just assuming.
He's a bum-bicker bum-boy.
Listen, that's an assumption, all right? That's never proven, but, his best mate gets thrown out that window for giving a bit too much lip to the king.
Literally.
And not in a good way.
I went with somebody who played a similar type of character. I went Game of Thrones as well here. I think how you pronounce it is Gethin Anthony. He was
Ramsay?
No, not Ramsay. Renly Baratheon.
Oh.
Ramsay wasn't gay in Game of Thrones. Ramsay was a horrible little cunt, but he wasn't gay. Ramsay Bolton.
Oh no, I know who that is. I could have sworn that's who played him.
No, Renly Baratheon is the one that got married to. Oh, what's her name?
Oh, I know who it is. Yeah.
He gets married to her, and then he's like, "I really don't want to do anything," and she's like, "Well, we're married. You're gonna have to." And he's like, "No, I don't want to."
Yeah, I'm just gonna stand here.
Yeah.
I went with a big actor here. I went with Timothée Chalamet here.
Very big name for such a minor role.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that minor when you think about it. He's in it for the guts of an hour and a half, and he's in it quite regularly.
He's always in it in the background, though.
No, so like you think about it, he's there. He gives the order to execute him, right? He gives the order. He's there talking to the king on multiple occasions.
He's always the background to the king, though. The king is the main focus when he's in the room. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think the look that Chalamet has fits that prince role and supposed homosexual thing. That's no offense on him, but yeah, that was my pick for there. I think he fits in there absolutely perfectly.
I think he's just I think he's a huge name for such a minor role in this. Like, he's not the main antagonist or anything. He's always just kind of being put down. He's always a little bit to the side of the camera. I
suppose it's the same. It's the same way he was in the likes of Little Women as well. Though he's just fucked off to the side.
Yeah, but Little Women's a story that
he played a woman.
Yeah, but like I don't know that he was as big a star when that he's a huge star. I think. I just don't see why they put him in such a small role here.
Because if you read this script, it's going to be a blockbuster.
It's a small role, but it's an important role nonetheless.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Chalamet in this one.
I don't know that it is that important, other than the fact that they're like you're the king's son, and the king doesn't think you're strong enough to rule your own fucking country. That's basically all it is. They're like, you're not good enough at ruling. You're useless basically the whole time.
I have a feeling this is gonna kill me on Champions Advantage again.
Well, it's a good one so far, boys.
4-4, 2 to play.
Right, let's go with Longshanks.
Who birdies the last 2 to win it?
I think this one's on you, Greg.
Edward Longshanks. Man I've used many times before, and I'll continue to use him. Charles Dance.
Yeah, it's like the part he was born to play, isn't it?
Yeah, King of England.
Yeah.
It's a good one, yeah. I kind of went with, I had a backup with Bernard Hill, just because when I was watching it, I was like...
Good show. That's a good show.
I had the backup of Bernard Hill, because when I was watching it, I was like, that's Bernard Hill. I was just sitting there, I was like, that's Bernard Hill right there. And I probably should have stuck with that. And I had it for such a long time. And then it was only recently, I can't remember what I was looking at something else. And I thought of somebody else who I felt kind of was a bit younger, because the king isn't particularly old in this either. You know, he's still meant to be.
Well, he is. He's into his late 70s.
Yeah, I don't know that he is that, because he's kind of like, he still looks quite healthy until he comes back from France, and then he's like, oh, actually, I'm quite sick. Like
he got the clap over there.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's not a frail kind of character up until then, and it's only when he gets back from then and he starts coughing a little bit that you're like, oh, he's actually dying off. I went with Joaquin Phoenix, who I think can play that quite well.
No,
he can be a real bastard, you know, talking down to his son, you're a piece of shit, you know, and we have to remember like what this king is meant to have done as well. You know, he invited all the Scottish people, the Scottish lords, to come meet him in this place, and then hugging them all. And you're kind of like, you have to be a bit fucking to think, yeah, this is a good idea. I'll hang all of them in this one little barn. And
absolutely don't like that pick at all.
I was like, Joaquin Phoenix gives off that element of, I'm a little bit crazy here.
I love Joaquin Phoenix, but I just don't see him playing the King of England.
I don't know, if you look at him now, he looks a bit like the character. Is kind of, I think that might have been what ended up pushing me. If you look at him now with the beard and stuff, I'm like, yeah, he could kind of do that, and he can play that bastard very, very well, which we obviously saw in Gladiator as well. He's a real bastard in that as well. Bastard in a lot of things, to be honest.
He's changed his acting style now, though, from when he was in Gladiator, when he seemed to be real arrogant and taking all those roles. Like, look at him when he played Johnny Cash. He was brilliant.
Yeah,
but that's because it's a different type of role.
No, but like, that's what I mean. He's changed the characters that he's taken. I know he took Joker, which I thought was a strange choice for him to take.
Yeah, but he did it very well. That's kind of my point. Like, his acting ability is still perfect.
Oh, I'm not questioning his acting ability.
Yeah, I don't know. I seen him recently in something, and he's looking that bit older because he has the grey and like the grey beard and stuff.
You were never here or something, was it?
I don't know, but he has like the grey beard and stuff now, and I was like, just put a little bit longer hair on him. I was like, yeah, I can see him kind of being the King of England, talking down to his son all the time, telling everyone that they're, you know, throwing somebody out a fucking window because they tried to give him some advice.
Okay, fellas. So I didn't get a complete list for this one. I found it very difficult.
This was impossible. Like, if I had been the judge, I'd have done the same. I'd have just tried to wing it.
But the one part that I did, I agreed with one of you on this one.
I'm going to assume it was Charles Dance. See, I just felt Charles Dance was a bit like, he's a bit older, which is why I didn't go with him.
Definitely the one that I actually picked. So sorry about that, Teddy.
Yeah. No,
the dance comes up big again.
I just felt he's that bit older now. So it's that, like, you know, Game of Thrones was a couple of years ago now, and he was very good in that, like, as I
was going to say, was Charles Dance in it? Yeah, he was the dad, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's really, really good at that as well. But that's a couple of years ago now. Do you know, like, he's a couple of years on from that again. I'm just kind of like, oh.
He's such a good classically trained actor, though.
No, he is. But my point is that he's starting to look that bit older already. Like the King he's starting to look that bit older already in that sense. That's why I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't. But I wouldn't have seen Phoenix in that role myself now. At all.
Yeah, I probably should have stuck with Bernard Hill, who I had for ages, and then it was just
that's a really good show.
Yeah, I seen Joaquin Phoenix in something, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go with him.
So is that 5-4 at the minute?
Yeah.
One more to go. Yeah, one more to go.
Match point. That's what this is.
Oh yeah.
But it's match point either way.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, yeah.
Oh, so go for it,
William Wallace. So this one I struggled with because it is quite a difficult one to recast because I actually people can I said Mel Gibson was kind of shit at doing a Scots accent, but he was really good in the role. I have to give it to him, he was very, very good in the role.
He plays them chaotic roles very well, doesn't he? Like Mad Max and things.
Yeah. So I kind of had two names here. Originally, I was trying to keep kind of Scottish people, or like people who could do a Scottish accent, and I kind of had Gerard Butler there for a little bit. The problem with Gerard Butler is he's a couple of years older now at this point. I think he's into his 50s now.
Doesn't look it though.
Exactly. With some of these lads, you can get away with them.
Well, I haven't seen him in a while now. I haven't seen him since Olympus Has Fallen or whatever in 2018. But
yeah, like he is in his 50s though. He's that little bit older. I'm kind of like.
Great actor though. He's a good actor.
Very good actor, which is why I thought of him originally. And then what I thought was, at the time this was made, the big name in this, which is something we have gone with before. We said, the big selling point was the name of the main character. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, right, I need to get someone who's a big name at the moment. Maybe not the biggest name in Hollywood, but still very big, and needs to be physically imposing. And, I want them to be good with fight scenes and stuff like that. And I went with Henry Cavill, The Witcher or Superman, whichever one you know him from. I know him more from The Witcher because I prefer The Witcher than I do.
I don't overly agree with he has to be amazingly physically imposing. And I think he takes that joke quite well when he comes up to the Scottish armies and he's like, oh, William Wallace is 7 feet tall.
No, I'm not saying he has to be huge, but the idea of he's not,
Oh no, he's not skinny. He's not Timothée Chalamet skinny.
He's not a little small guy, and he's not a big guy like Hamish. He needs to be, but he does need to be physically imposing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
looks like himself.
Yeah, people, like if you saw some skinny guy like Timothée Chalamet or whatever, and he was like, come fight for me, we'll take on the whole British army. You'd be like, don't know about that, mate. Really don't know. I don't know if I'd follow you into battle. So it needs to be somebody you'd be like, I would follow that lad into battle.
So this one was a tough one, really. You have to have somebody that can deliver the speech, right? That he does. So, the easiest option, I think, would have been Sebastian Stan, but I don't think he does it.
On the show.
No, but I don't think he does it.
No, I don't think so.
Right? I had a tough choice, and I've gone with another actor I don't overly like. Having watched a movie that I didn't even know he was in Centurion, I went with Michael Fassbender. Obviously, he has the Celtic warrior spirit as well in him. I think he's a good actor. He can deliver those powerful speeches along the way as well.
I do like him as an actor. I think he's very good with the speech, but I don't know if I see him as a physical brawler in that sense, and maybe that's just because in my head he's Magneto. Do you know what I mean? I still see him.
It's like if you see him in Centurion and things, he's a dog.
Yeah, I don't know. In my head, he's still I still see him as Magneto and stuff like that. He's not a physical brawler. He kind of outsmarts his opponents in that sense, rather than he's like.
But that's exactly what Wallace does in this. He outsmarts everybody.
Not really. Loads of times he just fucks himself into the middle of a battle and starts scrapping people.
No, that's literally only the one battle between him and England. So he gets the lads to come in and take over the camp after his missus gets killed. He uses his brains. He makes a very big point of it when he's throwing the stone with Hamish.
Yeah,
he's like, it's all about up here.
He does, but he also he has that side to him where he just gets into a scrap for nothing. Like he's just like, right, I'm just getting into this scrap. It actually doesn't matter. Like I'm just gonna like I'm confident that I can beat the shit out of 20 lads around me, which is what we see when they try to the guards try to rape. She's his wife at that point. He's just like, right, I'll just fight a lot of them, and you're like, hey, you fucking mad bastard, because there's loads of them and you've no weapons.
Well, there was only 3 of them at the time.
No, there was 3 at the back of the thing, but you knew that if you the second you hit one of them, the rest of the boys were being called to fucking do something about it, and he knew that. You know what I mean? He was smart enough to think that.
But then again, that's not as much just throwing himself in. That's just blind anger.
It is, but like you have to be, you have to be a bit fucking physically imposing. I can get in down and dirty with my fucking hands, like.
Yeah.
Oh boys, why do I have to pick one of these?
It is a tough one.
Okay, let's see. I like Cavill. I like Fassbender. Talking about delivering the speech, Magneto's the kind of leader that would do that. You know,
you've got to inspire people.
He inspired people to follow him with the Brotherhood of Mutants, and I would see Fassbender more like a leader type role to, for this type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Henry Cavill, like in The Witcher, he rallies the Witchers to all fight together when they're all needed as well. So he can deliver those type of speeches as well. It's not like he doesn't have that in him.
But this speech, right? I know it's theoretically in this world the movie hasn't been made. This goes down as one of the most powerful speeches ever made in terms of film thing.
And I think in terms of the delivery of that type of thing, I think Fassbender would have a better delivery,
Possibly. I don't know if he's physically imposing enough.
He's not skinny either, though, and I'm sure he would bulk up if needed be.
Possibly, but
he's that kind of actor,
But look at Mel Gibson, because he came off the back of doing one of the Lethal Weapons, and he was like overweight and all coming in to do this.
Yeah, Fassbender doesn't tend to bulk up in any of the things he's in. He kind of stays. He's quite tall.
Look at him when he went into 300. I know some of that was superimposed.
Most of that's all superimposed. Like
look at him when he came out of it though into the next movie. He was huge.
I don't think he's huge. I don't think he's ever huge.
He's never huge, but
he's tall, so it always makes his frame look quite big. Anyway,
he wasn't skinny in Inglourious Bastards either, though.
Fuck, I forgot he was in that.
No, I'm not saying he's very skinny, but like, I'd never look at him and be like, yeah, that's a man that's going to jump into a scrap.
Sounds like the champs on the ropes there, doesn't it, Greg?
No, like
he's feeling the heat here.
No,
really. Great.
I'm making the point. Like, I don't think that I don't ever see him as I jump into a scrap like that. Yes, he can do the voice, like he can deliver that speech, but that's one part. Like that's what 30-40 seconds of this film.
And then every speech that he makes along the way, where he's talking to the elders, trying to get the lords in part, when he's talking to the soldiers.
Cavill can do all that as well. That's my point. Like,
see, I haven't seen The Witcher, so.
See, that's.
I thought he was a terrible Superman, though.
No, well, Superman's just a shit superhero. Like, he's the worst.
It's
superhero.
True.
He's
the worst. It is true.
Superhero.
He's one of the only real superheroes, but he's terrible.
No, he's the worst superhero ever made. Like his weakness is that he's actually like a fucking moron. Like that's his actual kryptonite isn't his weakness, because kryptonite's meant to be really difficult to come by.
Everybody has it.
Every fucking person has it. You're a fucking idiot, man. Like you're actually an idiot. Like that's his big weakness, that he's actually thick as shit. Like, but it's not really from Superman. I looked at him more in The Witcher, where he has that kind of longer hair. He can give those speeches. He can get down and dirty. He can definitely do the fight scenes. He looks like the kind of guy you would follow into a battle. Like Henry Cavill comes up and he's like, "Come on, lads, I need you to help me in this scrap." You'd be like, "Yeah, I'd follow that man into a fucking battle." Like,
I'd say more so Wallace's character is more so his ability to talk people around, though. Like he goes and gets, all right, I know his missus got killed and they want the English out of the town because they ride Morrison's wife, right? That's fine, but he still united all the clans that were fighting with each other.
No, he didn't. He tried to. He never
No, he did, because they all started fighting with him for him at the start. He doesn't unite
not because of his speeches. They all eventually come to him because they're like, oh, we heard of William Wallace, this big man.
No, not them lads. He gets himself a mini army before that, where he talks to the clans that are around his house.
But they're not clans. If they're around his house, that's one clan. Like, that's one clan.
Not right around his house, but the towns around. He unites them first.
Because they hear of what he's done. Because they hear of his physical accomplishment. Not because he goes and talks to them. They hear this man beat the ever-living shit out of like 30 soldiers because they killed his wife. You know what? He's probably right. We're sick of that happening here as well. And if he's able to do it, we can do it. It's his physical accomplishments that get most people. He rallies people to actually fight when he stands in front of them, when he's like, come on, we can do this. It's the same as Aragorn. Aragorn's speeches don't tend to be what rally people to him. It's his fucking physical embodiment of being an absolute monster on the battlefield.
If we'd done this show about 10 years ago, he'd have been the perfect pick.
He would have been, and like Viggo Mortensen's just he's a little bit too old for that, but it's the same thing. It's what they've seen him do. They're like, this guy is someone that you can trust in battle. He will get us to a victory. The speech is nice. It rallies. It gives people momentum. It gives them a courage to get into the fight. But that's not what he's got people in with. He's got them in with because they're like, this boy knows what he can do. Like, this boy does it on the battlefield. That's what people like. That's how they all join him. And they're all very vocal about that because they're like, I heard he's this big. And he's like, yeah, well, you heard a lot of shite. This is who I am. Like, you know what I mean? It's the stories of him, not, oh man, you want to hear the speech this boyo gave down the fucking.
So if that's the case, right? If you're going down that route, do you not think having someone that looks like Fassbender, who's not as opposing looking maybe as Cavill?
No, it's more that he's not 7 foot tall.
You come back and you're like, he actually did all that, and he could turn around and say, yeah, I did actually. So.
But they've already showed up. So even if he was 7 foot tall,
but they didn't show up for him. Don't forget that they show up with the two lads that betray him. And that's their army, because they say to him, you pay homage to me. No, I pay homage to Scotland.
Yeah, those boys say that. But those stories, if those boys have heard those stories and they're that far away from where he lives, but those stories have travelled.
That army that shows up isn't for Wallace.
No, but that army shows up and they've heard of Wallace. How have they heard of Wallace? They have to have heard it from the other towns that it's come from. Wallace started here, and it's built all the way back to these. So everyone else that joined him up until that point joined because of the stories of him.
And he then stops them leaving.
He stops them leaving by that speech. But that's not, like, again, as I said, he's very good at rallying people with a speech and giving them heart to actually fight on. But what has all the other people joining him wasn't that he went in and gave all these speeches. People heard and they were like, let's go to him. He didn't go and get most of those other villages to come join him. They heard of his accomplishments and were like, let's get to him. Like, this guy is going to free our country. Not because of his speeches. Because if they just wanted someone to do speeches, that was Robert, the Bruce. Because he was the one that with the silver tongue that was in the English lad's ear. They went to him because they were like, this man's a fighter. The fact that they all heard he was 7 foot tall and he's like, well, I'm not 7 foot tall. It's not like he's a small guy either, you know? Mel Gibson wasn't a small guy. So, but if they show up and he is short, but if they show up and he is 7 foot tall, they don't portray him as short. Like, he's not much smaller than Hamish in this, you know. Like, they shoot it so that he's relatively tall.
Yeah.
Like,
well, look, let's put a pin in this one, right? Because you could debate this all evening.
Well, we're debating it for you to make your decision. That's
well, I'm gonna ask the judge the choice here. Did I Brody the last two, or did Ted Eagle the last to draw?
Say that again.
I said, did I Brody the last two to win, or did Ted Eagle the last to force the draw?
I'm saying nothing. I'm going to tell you now. I'm going to just tell you, right? If this was a film that was been made to go straight to Hulu or something like that, I would have picked Henry Cavill. But because it was going out there into the cinema, I'm picking Fassbender. I think he's a better actor overall, and I personally think he would be able to do that better. There you go.
Fair enough. I don't see how
vindication.
I don't see how you don't see Henry Cavill as a huge cinema name.
Oh, he is, but for this particular role I'm talking about.
Yeah, but straight to Hulu or cinema, most people who are getting Henry Cavill, like, the only reason he's in The Witcher is because he fucking asked for it, because he loves the series. Like,
he's a big gamer, isn't he?
He is a gamer,
they didn't even think to ask him. It was him ringing them up constantly, being like, "Can I do that? Can I do that? Can I do that? Can I do that?
I would see Fassbender more so than Cavill. You know, so they're both great. Don't get me wrong, they're both great fucking shouts.
I think Cavill is a bigger Hollywood name currently than Fassbender is. I think he'd be more in demand, which is what Gibson was at the time.
But
big in demand.
Yeah.
Which is something we've used previously to make those, like when I said, "Oh, I think this person do very well," and you were like, "Yeah, but he's not a big enough name."
But we'd also say that Gibson wouldn't have got this part if he didn't direct it.
Well, we don't know that, but like, presumably,
I 100% say I know that. There's no chance he gets this part.
We can't say 100%. You know that. Like,
sorry, 99% sure he doesn't get this part.
We don't think he would have, but like again, you don't know. Like, there's.
Well, this is not the great thing about life. We all have different opinions, and you know that's the name of the game. It is.
Yeah.
So champion loses out this time, I'm afraid.
He just falls short of the longest reign.
Yeah.
I think you have two.
I have the same longest reigns as you, buddy.
No, but to hold the longest reign.
Yeah, we both have it. Both of us have held 4-week reigns.
Yeah, but you've fallen short of winning the longest reign.
Well, I'm tied for the longest reign.
Yeah, you two of them.
I would have set a new record for longest reign, but I didn't fall short of it, the longest reign. Falling short would mean I only got 3 victories.
He equaled the longest reign.
Yeah. But obviously we'll be going on to our next film, but that's not what we're going to be doing next week. Next week, since Carl is still quite new to this, we're giving him a chance to take on somebody else before he takes on for another championship shot at the title. He's going to take on somebody that was on the Slab previously.
Legend.
I think
Jeez.
The episode was both me and Greg were doing an interview with her. Her name is Anna Clary. She said she'd love to come on, so she is going to take Carl on next week, and they are going to be doing Men in Black. So watch out for that.
Have fun with that.
Thanks for throwing me to the dogs, by the way, lads. Yeah.
But this is to give you a warm up. You know, we've had a bit longer to try
this. We've had a few weeks more.
Yeah, so we're giving you an extra shot before you have to go and try and
as a newbie.
Yeah, so you should have a little bit of an edge there. But we've seen before, Big Rob thought he was going to win, and Paige came in and beat him as well, and that was her first time. So it's never a guarantee.
The Americans are strong in this game.
I'll give it a go.
Especially if you're bringing in an actress that watches a lot of movies.
Yeah, but it gives Carl a chance now to just get a little bit more into the comfort of doing this before he takes on Greg next week. In 2 weeks, obviously.
2 weeks.
The film.
What are we going with?
Films you'll be doing is we've kind of gone with action and horror recently, so I'm going to give you something a little bit different. We're going to go back to comedy.
Oh, Naked Gun. Has to be Naked Gun. You love the Naked Gun.
I do love Naked Gun. The problem with Naked Gun is there's not enough characters, really. It'd be too short an episode. So
a 10-minute episode.
Yeah. We're going to go with late 90s.
Loser?
No, although one of the actors is in Loser.
Oh, all right, I know.
It's a big franchise, but we're going to go just with the first film in it. Although most of these are in the entire franchise in American Pie.
Oh. Awesome. How could that's no.
Rewatched it myself recently. It's
so good.
It's very good, but you kind of forget how when you watch it when you were younger, you're like, this is great. And now I go back and watch it, I'm like, it's a bit cringy. A lot of the times I'll watch stuff on like the bus or the train or whatever. I was like, I don't think I could watch this on the bus or train. I think I'd feel a bit looking over my shoulder, like I'm not watching that fucking weird here.
Up the back of the film.
It's a fucking film, like, all right.
It's even better, lads. They're all on Netflix now.
Yeah. Yeah. So American Pie will sort out who the.
Jeez, that must be a 9 or an 11-part episode.
It'll have to be 9 like this as well. Yeah, it'll have to be the same, and a 9 character one. But until next week when Carl takes on Anna Clary, and then the following week when he takes on Greg in American Pie. Don't forget to like, share, follow, obviously us here on Retrotainment, the lads over on the Slab. And if you let us know in the comments and whatnot, what you think about the choices that were made, whether you feel...
If you feel Ted was the hard done boy, let us know.
No, well, like Greg obviously went with Foreman, which I would have I would have agreed with it as well. I think Tormund was a great shout, but like maybe somebody else has something else out there that they'd be like, no, this would have beaten it. Let us know, and if you would like to see us do any specific film, obviously comment that as well. But until then, good luck.
Adios.